Hello, folks. A unique concept today is you see so many videos, don't you, about date night fragrances from people who are unhappily married for many years or completely, involuntarily celibate. Well, I have been on, let's say, at least a date recently, and I will therefore be telling you about actual fragrances, what I wore on an actual real world date in the actual field of battle. Before we do that, I'm going to give you a unique insight here. Here's some actual footage of me on a recent first date.
I give to you. May the flame of our love never die. I love you. I need you. I want you. Okay? We are now 50-50 together. Mm-hmm. One. Okay, not two people, one person.
There we go. Okay, guys, so dating. We're always talking about these fragrances in the videos, and it's always off and we know from the titles that it's, fragrances to make her want you. Irresistible fragrances, top 10 women magnets, compliment getters, panty droppers. These lists tend to be a little bit theoretical. You've got guys who've been stuck with the same woman that we sort of hear about in the background of their life for 5 or 10 years. So they ain't been on no dates, have they? And that doesn't count if you go on a date night with your wife. That's not a date. Not a date in the sense that you need to pick the right fragrance. We're talking about real dates, guys. Now, I'm not going to give you information about my personal life. This could, in fact, be completely made up. But I did make it public that I put myself on a dating app. I can reveal that a date or dates may have occurred in the real world. That's all I'm telling you, all right? Now, let's talk about it. Okay, first up, well, actually, before we do that, don't forget Gravitas Essentia, now available to buy in the UK, USA, and Canada. Amazing fragrance. We took the acclaimed original Gravitas Puron by perfumer John Stephen. We added Artemisia bay leaf and something else that I've now... mint, that's right. And it somehow elevated the citrus too. It is the fresh flanker to the amazing Gravitas. Get it now, link in the description. Of course, don't forget also, if you want to buy fragrances in the United States of America, Canada, or Puerto Rico, you must go to myfragrancesamples.com. Link in the description. Okay, so I'll do one fragrance and then I'll talk about the dating game in general. Obviously, I'm 46, so bear that in mind. It's a little bit different when you're 25. The stakes are different, actually. Very interesting. So there's a bit of personal life story. I'm going to be very careful. It's all kind of abstract, okay? Because I'm not going to tell you about specific things if I ever have a date and if I've been on one that happened. That wouldn't be right. And if I ever got, in the unlikely event that I ever had a girlfriend, I would not be putting them on the YouTubes. Too many nasty people. Think about how much trolling I get. Imagine what they do to a woman connected with me. It's horrific the way some scumbags out there behave on the internet. Okay, first one then. Old Savage. Vintage original formula, or the earlier formula of Old Savage from Dior. Apparently Steve McQueen's signature scent, and he didn't do too bad with the ladies. This is just a perfect all-round signature scent. So you've got citrus in here. We have some very charming green aromatic notes, including rosemary. We've got hedione, this magical kind of ingredient. It was one of the first fragrances that actually used it. And hedione, sort of related to jasmine, I think. Is it extracted from jasmine, or is it an artificial kind of homage to jasmine? I'm not sure. Anyway, apparently that aroma chemical has been clinically proven to have a chemical effect on the part of women's brains responsible for sexual attraction. Now, I cannot say it actually had that effect when I wore it, not in any noticeable way. But guys, I'm going to be honest with you. The fragrance is a great choice for a date. This one also has great vetiver and real oak moss in the base. It is fresh, it is citrusy, it is a little bit complex, it is nuanced, it is multifaceted, but it is very easy to like. It really sings through the air, and you can apply a little bit for a for a sillage that is not too in your face, or you can apply a lot if you want to go a little bit more amoroso in your projection there, and I do recommend that sometimes on a date. Really, really good choice for a date. Have I received a compliment or big compliments on it? I've got to be completely honest, not really. And that takes me into another kind of subject of this video. This stuff where we say that, you can get a woman with the right fragrance. Really, I'm going to tell you from what I've learned, maybe over the years and in my recent experience on the dating app and stuff, the way you smell is way down the list of what women are interested in a man, guys. I hate to break this to you, okay? So things that they tend to like, okay? First of all, unfortunately for many of us, looking at the profiles, I went on this app called Bumble. They like honesty. Yes, that's right. They like honesty. They like integrity. They value trust highly. They do like a good sense of humour. So well, I've got one of, at least I've got a sense of humour. The rest, no, I'm joking. So they really like those kind of, and this is women in their 40s and upwards. So they like some of the old-fashioned values and things that a normal person has every right to expect. They're not particularly listing that you need to have an incredibly chiseled physique. You don't need to probably be ripped or anything. In fact, many women I sense, actually, maybe younger ones different. I sense many women don't actually like their man to be too overly muscly or toned or too perfectly slim. But maybe partly because some of them feel they're not perfect and they feel a little uncomfortable if you turn up looking like Daniel Craig or something, you know what I mean. So you've got a lot of leeway there. As long as you're sort of normal in your physique, then you're fine. You can have a little bit of winter weight on. I don't think that women care too much about that. Dressing smartly is a very good thing to do, and anyone can do that. We can't all go and get in great shape tomorrow, but we can all buy a couple of clothes that look smart. So dress smartly. Don't go too casual on dates. You don't necessarily want to turn up in a tuxedo, but it's better to be mildly overdressed. Wear shoes. Don't wear trainers or sports shoes. Wear smart clothing in whatever kind of style you prefer. I really do think that's an easy tip to get right. Try and have clean teeth. If you have good, obviously you can't necessarily fix your teeth tomorrow. I think women like good teeth, at least not really bad wonky yellow ones. Have good breath, guys. But the absence of unpleasant smells is actually more important than applying a nice perfume. So far better that you make sure that you are clean, hygienic, that your breath doesn't smell. If you go on a date, clean your teeth, use a mouthwash. This should all be obvious, but I think, from what I gather out there, from whether it be anyone that I've dated or female acquaintances that I know otherwise who've been on, a lot of guys turn up getting some of these basics wrong, okay? Try and be confident, try and have good conversation. I know that's not something you can necessarily turn on, but whatever helps you to get in that kind of zone. I think it helps me that I do the YouTube channel because I'm used to waffling inanely when I frankly have very little of any substance to say, as I'm doing in this video. So there are my top tips, guys, for the dates. Let's move on to the fragrances, though. So when you've got all those things right and you don't have BO and you're not wearing a Pokemon t-shirt or a baseball cap backwards, you've done a few things right. Sorry if you like to wear baseball caps. Then get the fragrance right. Great choice, Eau Sauvage. Don't expect it to turn a donkey into a racehorse. It doesn't. Dolce and Gabbana Puron. This is another one that has been used by me in the field of battle in the last month. And again, I thought it was a good choice. I'm not saying it did anything for me or was noticed in a big, huge way. Dolce & Gabbana Puron, classic citrus aromatic fragrance from 1994. By the way, Eau Sauvage. By the way, if you want to buy the modern formula, no problem. It'll do the similar job, okay? Or you can buy Eau Sauvage Cologne, which is similar and is still produced today, and you may prefer that. So Eau Sauvage original formula, but the modern formula fine, or the Eau Sauvage Cologne version, really good too. Then it's not far off, okay? You're going to be fine with that. Dolce & Gabbana Eau de Toilette. Again, you can buy the modern version. It will fulfill much of the same role. This has a little bit more je ne sais quoi, that, or whatever the Italian for je ne sais quoi is. Again, citrus aromatic, beautiful bergamot mandarin in the opening. Has a twist of tobacco leaf, dry green tobacco leaf in the middle of this scent. Really charming. And again, a base of vetiver. Description not too dissimilar to the Eau Sauvage. It was sort of there. This was the first masculine fragrance from Dior. This was the first release from Dolce & Gabbana. So, and often they will go for a fresh, refreshing type fragrance, as with, to an extent, Chanel's Pour Monsieur, YSL Puron. Anyway, we digress. Great choice. Quintessential, exquisite, versatile fragrance. Fresh, charming, a little bit of real oak moss in the base of the old formula maybe, and hard to dislike this one. You want to play safe. You probably don't want to wear a fecal oud fragrance. Smelling of poop doesn't usually work on a date. In the unlikely event that I get, so those have been used by moi, in the unlikely event that I get any more chances to meet a person or persons, okay, I'm not going to give anything away. This is all abstract, okay, I'm not giving information away. I would say a great other choice there for something a little bit more sweet would be Longskin de Gallan, the eau de toilette here. Beautiful fresh notes in the opening in the typical Gallan style. The so-called Guerlainade is present in this one, and there's a little bit of cacao in the base. So there is this creamy cacao pod. It's fresh, it's citrusy, it's almost soapy, it's a little bit floral, and it has a charming twist of both vanilla and a tiny hint of not kind of a gourmand, not an out-and-out chocolate fest, but a hint of chocolate in the base. That would be a really good alternative. You don't want to just smell citrusy and something a bit more interesting in a way than the others. Last but not least, have had such good feedback from ladies, just through online, not through meeting them in real life. Xerjoff. Women really like Naxos Xerjoff. Amazing tobacco mixed with honey and citrus. It is kind of fresh, but it has tobacco with honey and there's sweetness about it. A little bit of cinnamon spiciness. Something a little bit more enticing and seductive and sexy and warming than the others. Those would be 4 real-world scents that Mr. Smelly may have or may be about to wear in the unlikely event that any person or persons that he may or may not have been seeing might ever see him again. Those are my genuine, real-world recommendations for you guys. They work well. Sadly, though, they are merely the icing on the cake, and you've got to bake a very good cake first. Okay, I want to emphasise that point. You've got to be. I'm afraid they like nice people. They like nice people. They like kind people. They like polite people. Take an interest in them. Don't waffle on too much about yourself. Although, don't be afraid to tell them about yourself. Share things, but also take a great interest in the other person. They do rather like that. Try to be honest or trustworthy, or if you're not, at least try to trick them into thinking you are. I will leave it there, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Now, remember to subscribe to the channel if you liked the video, or even if you didn't. Who knows? The next video may be better. It could hardly be worse, could it? I've waffled on long enough, and I think it's time for me to go and take my medication. Guys, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. And remember, although sometimes life may stink, if we wear any of these fragrances, at least we can always smell good. See you. Bye. 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 Bye.